Let's get started. When we're looking at this trinomial, what we're seeing first and foremost is that these are going to be of the pattern where there's a number in front of x squared. Whenever there's a number in front of x squared, the factoring is significantly more work. We can see that there are, how many steps written here? 7 steps. And one of the steps is called factor by grouping, which is a whole section of notes that we had last week. So what are the steps? Number 1, we're going to look to see if there's a GCF. That's a common number or letter in every term. If that's there, you take it out. Next, you're going to find your middle term, and you're going to add legs to it. You're going to multiply the first and the last term together, AC, and then you're going to make your product sum chart for all the factor pairs of AC, just like we do for regular factoring. But instead of those numbers being the answers, they're going to just be the sum that adds to B. Then we're going to be able to rewrite our original expression, and it will have 4 terms. And then we factor by grouping. So, number 9. As I look at this, I see 5, 10, and then 175. Boys at the front. I'm noticing that these are all divisible by what number?
5.
5 it is. So that means this has a GCF. Let's practice. This one just has a GCF, and then that lead coefficient will be gone. So when I take the 5 out, it goes to the outside of parentheses. Then I have x squared minus 2x minus, and then 175 divided by 5. I'm getting 3. 5 times 3 is 15, 25. I am getting 35. So this problem has bounced us back to the factoring we just did in our Kahoot. We want the numbers that multiply to negative 35 and add to negative 2. Because this is just x squared, it's just going to be x times x. What are the numbers that we think of that multiply to 35? I think of 5 times 7. I wanted to multiply to negative 35, so one of these numbers needs to be negative, and I wanted to add to a negative 2.
Negative 7 plus 5.
That's right. I want the bigger number to be negative. 5 minus 7 will yield negative 2. So I'm going to put the negative 7 here, the positive 5 here. And we'll highlight our answer. We feel good about this. Now this one is starting with the lead coefficient, but then it bounced back to a traditional factoring method. So that's kind of nice. Let's take a look at our next problem, number 10. Questions on number 9 before we move on? Okay, for number 10, I don't see a number common because 19 is prime. That jumps out at me. But what do we see is common in all 3 parts?
Don't have an A.
Agree. So let's start by dividing everything by A. That brings A to the outside of parentheses and decreases the exponent by 1 everywhere, giving me 6a to the power of 2 plus 19a with no exponent plus 10 with no a. Okay, now I'm going to split this. 19 is going to be split into 2 terms. In order to find that, we're going to make our first chart. I'm going to put B here and a plus sign. I'm going to put a times here, and we're going to use both A times C. So we're going to go really slow through this one. The A number is here, B number is 19, C number is here. Our A number is 6, our B number is 19, and our C number is 10. You with me so far? A is 6, B is 19, C is 10. How did I get those numbers? They're in the equation. We're going first, second, third. The first one is A, the second one is B, the third one is C. So now let's fill in our chart. I want B to be 19. And I'm going to do 6 times 10, which is 60. Now, because I want to use a pattern, I'm going to show us going down the line of 60, starting with 1. I love that this problem is all positive, so we're just going to be dealing with positives. This will be 1 times 60. What do 1 and 60 make when we add them? Very good. So that's eliminated that combination. We're just going to go down the line so that we don't forget any pair of numbers. After 1 comes 2. 2 times what value to make 60? 30 is correct. When I add those two, I get 32. So I'm also seeing, oh, if the middle term was 61, I would know the numbers. If the middle term was 32, I would know the numbers for future problems. Counting up, 1, 2, who comes next? 3 and 20, very good. That's going to be 23, not the number we're looking for, but 23 is way closer to 19 than 32 was. As the numbers get closer to the number we want, we get excited. We're getting closer to the right combo. What comes after 3?
4.
4. 4 times?
15.
15. Jamil knew it. Does anyone else know that combo? That's an often forgotten one with 60. We will often jump to 5 and 12 and we'll skip the 4. So if the numbers don't jump out at us, we want to start with our chart 1, 2, 3, and be systematic. This is the combination because what do 4 and 15 add to? 19. So now I'm going to go back to my pink marker. These are the numbers. These two are going to replace 19. We're going to write 6a squared plus 4a plus 15a plus 10. I'm going to leave this little lingering GCF to the very last step. Now we have, I'll use my rainbow color, 1, 2, staircase, 3, 4. Hopefully you remember this staircase from last week. This is factoring by grouping. Oops. What happened? Now it's in state. Oh, well, let's pop back to remind ourselves what we did, I suppose. Here was one that we did by factoring by grouping. 1, 2, 3, 4. We saw the 10x squared from the first half. Then we saw the 3 from the second half. Then we looked to see that the binomials matched. They did. So then we took the numbers out front, we put them together, and then we wrote the binomial once. Hopefully you remember that. That's what we're going to do here. So with 6 and 4, they're both divisible by 2, and they both have the letter A. We're always going to pull a variable from the first half. Okay, pay attention, don't miss this. 2 times what gives 6? 3. So this gives me 3a plus 2 times what gives 4 back? 2. So if I was to distribute, this would give me back my previous step. The next one, I see that this is a plus sign, so I take out the positive. And what can I divide 15 and 10 by? 5. 5 times what is 15?
3.
5 times what is 10?
Two.
So this is the beginning of factoring by grouping. I check to see, do the binomials match? I underline them in pink. Do they match? Yes. In that case, we write these two together. 2a positive 5, 3a positive 2. Finally, I go back to the beginning and I write the a out front. This, oh, it was supposed to be my highlighter. This is my final answer. So what were the steps that we did? Let's look it over to summarize. We started by taking out the GCF. Then we had a trinomial with a lead coefficient. We found the numbers that represented A, B, and C. We used those numbers to make this chart with B and the product of A and C. We went down the line to find the factor pairs until we found the combination that added up to make B. Once we found that combination of 4 and 15, we replaced 19 with those two numbers. Then we drew our staircase. We factored out the GCF from each half. Because the binomials matched, we knew that we had not yet made a mistake, and we wrote our final answer in factored form. Let's do the next one together. This one's going to be somewhat more challenging because there are negative signs. Let's get started. Because there's no GCF, we're right away going to start by identifying A, B, and C. The number that represents A this time is what number, Mason? S. The number that represents B is what number?
11.
Mason? K. 11 is very close to the number. Be more specific. Negative 11. We only take the number parts. Great. Finally, JP, what is the number that represents C? Okay. So now we need to make our chart. The chart has B and the product of A times C. The B number is what again, Christian?
Negative 42.
The B number.
Oh, negative 11.
Good. Since you already calculated it, the AC number is?
Negative 43.
So this means that we want the difference. Okay, the difference means we're going to subtract. I'm going to have a positive number multiplied by a negative number. To yield a negative, I want the bigger number to be negative. Does the combination jump out at you? So then we're going to be systematic. The smaller number is 1. 1 times what to make 42?
42.
J-O.
Yes.
1 times what to make negative 42?
Negative 2.
Negative 42 is correct. Students, when we subtract these numbers, 1 minus 42, what do we get? Abby? Negative 41. That's not very close to 11, but now we've eliminated that combination. 2 times, we already did this one. 2 times what to make negative 42? Negative 21 is correct. When I subtract 2 minus 21, what answer do I get? Negative 19 is correct. Okay, 42, is it divisible by 3? Yes, 4 plus 2 is 6. So this number is divisible by 3. Let me do some side work. 3 goes into 4 once. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So 3 times what to make negative 42? Negative 14. What happens when I add these two? Negative 11. So that tells me that these two numbers are going to split my middle term. Try writing this with 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to do some of it yourself. Those of you playing with your hair and your phone, you're not learning. You have to do math to learn how to do math. It's not going to happen by watching. You have to do it yourself. Okay, let's see. The correct way to write this, there's actually 2 different ways you could write it in this step. I've got 2x squared plus 3x minus 14x minus 21. I could have also written this as 2x squared minus 14x plus 3x minus 21. So these 2 can be switched. Christian, that goes on my desk now. At this point, we're going to count them out. 1, 2, up, 3, 4. We're going to take out the GCF. With 2x squared plus 3x, there's no number common, but there's an x. So we take out the x only. Decreasing both of these gives me 2x plus, there's no x here, 3. The next 2 terms, we're going to take out the GCF, but some of you remember, because there's a negative here, what do we have to do? We have to take out a negative number. So I'm going to take out a negative number. What can I divide both 14 and 21 by? 7 is correct. When I divide them by 7, remember these are negatives divided by negatives, so they're going to change to positive. Negative 14 divided by negative 7 is going to yield 2x. Negative 21 divided by negative 7 is going to yield positive 3. This makes us happy. Do these 2 match? Oh, my rainbow kind of delays. Do these 2 binomials match? Yes. Then that means that we can write our answer. This is going to be x minus 7 times 2x plus 3. This is the final answer. If I multiplied this back out, it would give me back this answer. Let's take a look at the pattern of the answer. I've got x times 2x. That's the first. Yes, that would make 2x squared. I have negative 7 times positive 3. That's the last. That would definitely make negative 21. In the middle, I'm going to get negative 14. And on the outside, I'm going to get 3x. And so those would give me that negative 11 in the middle. So this works out perfectly. So what we did here, we found A, B, and C. We made our chart. We were systematic. We went 1, 2, 3. We found the combination. Then We use the pair of numbers that are the combination number to split the middle terms. Then we drew the staircase, factored out the GCF from each half, checked that the binomials match. They did. So then we wrote our answer. This is a process that you will be doing on your own. You will be finding A, B, and C. You will make the chart. You will find the pair of numbers. You will have them replace the middle. You will draw the staircase. You will take out the GCF. You can see that these ones require us to have a lot of skills. That's why we wanted to do 84 practice problems of the simple kind. Okay, we're on to number 12. As I look at number 12, I'm looking for a GCF. Do I see anything common with 18, 9, and 2? Can I divide 9 by 2? All right, so that means that there's no GCF. Instead, we're going to find A, B, and C. Find A, B, and C. Write A, B, and C, then make your A, B, and C chart. A is equal to 18. B is equal to -9. C is equal to -2. Perfect. We're doing great. Now this is my side work. I'll do it in rainbow to have fun. B goes here and A times C goes here. What's the number for B this time? Very good, -9. When I multiply 18 by -2, what do I get? 18 times 2 is a -36. So the numbers didn't pop out at me right away. They might pop out at you. I know that I'm going to need to subtract because I have a negative. And do I want the bigger or smaller number to be negative to make a -9? The bigger number. So my smaller number will be positive. My bigger number will be negative. 1 times -36 gives me -35 when I add them. That's not correct. When I try 2 times -18, that gives me -16. That's closer to -9, but it's still not the combination that we're looking for. When I do 3 times -12, I get -9. So these two are the combination of numbers that I'm looking for. That means that I write this as 18x squared plus 3x minus 12x minus 2. I wrote it as 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Instead of 9, I wrote 3x minus 12x because that's an equivalent way of writing -9. Now I can do factor by grouping. 1, 2, up, 3, 4. In the first half, I can take out 3x. 3 times what is 18? 6x is correct. Plus 3 times what is 3? 1. That's a tricky one for a lot of students. In the back, I see that it starts with a negative, so I'm going to take out a negative number. 2 is correct. That's going to change both of these to positive, which is good because I have positive in this binomial. That's going to give me 6x plus 1. Next, I check, oh, do my binomials match? They do. So then I write the answer. Practice writing the answer if you haven't done this step yet. check to see, did you write it as this? 3x minus 2, 6x plus 1. All right, cool. Number 13, find A, B, and C, start making your charts. This one's for you to try. I'm gonna come around and see what you guys are doing. Okay, overall, I saw that most students were able to identify A is equal to 7. B is equal to negative 22. And C was equal to 3. Then we start our chart, B and A times C. Negative 22, 21. Students who are talking over me, be quiet. Christian. I have the positive 21. I need a number that will multiply to a positive and then add to negatives. The meaning of this is we need 2 negative numbers. 2 negatives multiply to make a positive. That's going to be negative 1 times negative 21. Who else found this combination? All right, good. Negative 1 and negative 21 is correct. If you put 1 and 21, you get the problem incorrect because you do not have the correct sign. A negative times a negative is a positive, but 2 negatives add and keep the sign the same. A negative plus a negative stays negative. So now when we go to factor this, I have, I pushed it with my sleeve. Seven y squared. Minus 1y minus 21y positive 3. From here, we 1, 2, 3, 4 staircase it. In the first 2 terms, we see the letter y. We always take out a positive from the first half. That gives me 7y minus the y is now gone, 1. Then we see a negative 21. JP and Christian, please leave the classroom. I have a negative, and I can divide both of these by 3. That gives me positive 7y. Then I'm going to change the sign. 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. Now that the binomials are here, I compare them to see if they match. They do. If they don't match, you have made a mistake. Pause and ask for help. This now can be written as the final answer, y minus 3, 7y minus 1. Question on number 13. Okay, we have one more to go as far as I can tell. It's 14.
Go back.
Okay, are we ready for 14? Okay, we're all gonna love 14 because of 3. What can we do with 3? Divide what? All of them. When we divide everything by 3, we're very happy, giving me x squared plus 4x minus 5. Now I'm gonna show how we can do this one the same way. Not that we need to. Now the A number is here. A is equal to 1. B is equal to 4. C is equal to -5. So the B number is 4. A times C is equal to -5. Yes.
One is not like 3.
Remember how I just divided everything by 3? So when we have a GCF, that number is outside and we only look at the inside to find A, B, and C. When I look for numbers that multiply to -5 and then subtract to make 4, I want the bigger number to be positive this time. -1, +5. That would make 4. But 1 minus 5 makes -4. So you have to just be careful to get the right combination. We're going to use these two. Now, because the A value is 1, these two are going to be the answers. But if you don't notice that, you can still do these ones with factoring by grouping, and I will show you how. We still write the x squared. Then I'm going to write, oh, not plus. Minus 1x plus 5x. I want to cross this one out. And then minus 5. Then we do our factor by grouping. What's common in the first two is the letter x. Then I have x minus 1 left. I can very clearly see a 5 common in both of these, so that makes me feel good. It's a positive 5, so we start with a plus sign. That gives me x minus 1 again. Then I put this together as x plus 5, x minus 1, and the 3 from the beginning comes down. This is the final answer. Okay, you guys. These are our examples. We're going to do some whiteboard practice. Please get a marker and an eraser for you and a partner and a whiteboard behind Quentin.